Hello, Agent Mastermind. My name is Inga Springman. You're probably expecting Scotty today, but Scotty is actually at a meeting and would not be able to attend this. So I am here, and I'm super excited to invite and introduce Dwight Anderson from the Gowdy Brothers Aerospace Company. He's been on our Agent Mastermind before, and he's done a great job. But there's been so many changes in the FAA regulations now about using drones in real estate, so we're super excited to have him on today. He's going to tell you all about himself, about his company, and how you can use drones in your real estate business. So welcome, Dwight. Excited to have you. Nice to meet you. I'm really excited about this presentation today.
All right. Thank you, Inga. Thank you, everybody, for letting me have this opportunity to share with you some exciting things that would be some tools that you can help increase your sales. And I do have good news since we did the webinar back in January when you had to have an airplane pilot license and you had to get a 333 exemption. A lot of that has changed now, and I'm going to go through that and explain to you how you can do that. But some of you might not have been on the webinar last time, so I'd like to give you a little bit of a background on myself. And I love helping people. I have extensive experience in sales. I can remember back from when I was 8 years old, I got the Boys Life magazine, and there was an ad in there that you could make money selling greeting cards door to door. So I ordered it. They sent me a box load of these guys, and I sold them, and I just loved it. And I could, you could make money selling things. And I got involved with my parents. They're in real estate and remodeling, property management, and things like that. And then I spent 20 years in Australia where I met my wife. And I'm a director of a non-profit organization called Prison Mission Association, and we help a lot of inmates all across the country. We have over 27,000 students taking our courses. And my brother-in-law, Steve Gowdy, started this Gowdy Brothers Aerospace about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, with this drone boom, and he's asked me to help him in the sales of that, and so I've been learning more and more about it. And I love realtors. You guys, I mentioned my mom and dad. They're both real estate brokers down in Green Valley, Arizona, and my dad a few years ago got a special award as the first realtor emeritus status from the National Association of Realtors for over 40 years of service. So I love realtors. I know a lot of what you go through. Sometimes this can be very difficult, and but it can also be very, very rewarding. And speaking of realtors, I just read this morning a couple of quotes I thought were some pretty funny ones. One said, the older generation dream was to pay off the mortgage. The younger generation's dream is to get one. And the way some houses are built, the only thing that lasts 30 years is the mortgage. So anyway, aside from those jokes, I do want to get into what we're talking about today and 3 reasons why you should use a drone to help sell your house. And whether you're selling the property or hiring a broker to do it, this is really an important tool. And I want to share with you 3 reasons why you should use a drone for that. First off is drone footage of a property is part of an effective marketing plan. You can produce some stunning aerial pictures, and you maybe have seen some of resorts and golf courses, and it makes you look very professional in your presentation, because it usually costs a lot of money to get an airplane or a helicopter to do that kind of stuff, but with the drone you can do it very easily. And an aerial photography will give you help the buyer understand the proximity that they are to highways, supermarkets, schools, and other facilities in the area. Something like 85% of buyers and sellers want an agent who has video marketing, and 15% of agents have a video presence. So this is also something that really set you apart from your competitors and give you an opportunity to really increase your sales. Number 2, the second reason is it will help you to market the property by showing specific footage. So with the aerial still photography, you can really show off especially some bigger homes, nicer properties, the really nice features that are there. A third reason you need to get involved in this is that you will have to, or you're going to fall behind, because there's so many people that are using this tool and using it effectively that if you don't get involved, you're going to miss out on a lot of business. Now here's how some realtors are using the drones. They're using them in listing their presentations, and it's best over $500,000 homes and above. Really helps you to sell those properties. You can use it for website landing pages, aerial pictures, and
I'm sorry.
videos. Yep, can you still hear me?
I can hear you, but can you tell me, so just, are you saying just over 500,000? So this, using a drone for a property under 500,000 would not be the best idea, or can you just explain that a little bit?
It depends. Yeah, well, you can use it if there's some features that a drone and aerial photography and proximity is going to benefit you in selling that home. With it, say it's a $100,000 home, how much money do you want to put into it? Because it does cost you some money. Whether you're flying the drone, it's going to cost you your time, and then there's editing and putting that in your presentation. So with a video, I'm just saying, well, usually people will pay the good money. They'll pay like $400, $500, $600 to get the video shot and the photography for a $500,000 home and above. They're not going to pay as much probably for a smaller home. So if you're doing this yourself as a realtor, you could definitely do that. But I'm just saying that to get the most effect of it, like if I flip ahead a couple of slides, well, in a second I'm going to show you a presentation, and it's a beautiful home. So if you had a really junky home with a lot of junk in the backyard and stuff, you know, flying around the home is probably not going to benefit you selling that home. Does that make sense?
No, I just want to make sure that we clarify, because I know a lot of realtors have listings anywhere between, you know, 50,000 and to a couple of million. So I want to make sure that they know exactly what this is best used for.
Yeah. So it depends on the property. You know, if it's land and it's $200,000 piece of land, I mean, you could fly around that property and land. You know what I'm saying? It's just what the property looks like, and if it's going to be a so I'm just saying there, it's best used for the bigger, more expensive properties. You can use it for the smaller properties, but that you'll just have to gauge, you know, maybe you're just going to show the front of the house, not the backyard, or something that's not going to be very flattering. So you just have to kind of gauge it by the property. But you can kind of, as I look through and show you some examples, you know, you can kind of see how the video really shows off the bigger, nicer homes. And those videos will catch people's eyes, you know, through social media and different things like that. So people love Facebook and things like that. So like here's a Facebook post that you could put on there, and people love clicking those videos. And if you fly around the house and that, it's pretty awesome to add that to your listings. And I do have a sample video I'd just like to show you. It's a really short one, not necessarily the greatest, but I wanted to pick one that was a smaller video, shorter video. And what you want to do with the video of the aerial footage is really to set the stage, give it perspective of where the house and the placement of it on the property. And some make the mistake of just flying around the house, but when you do this, you actually need to show the inside of the house. It's kind of like a candy bar. If you're selling a candy bar, you just don't want to show the wrapper and fly around the wrapper. You want to show the inside of the candy bar, how it smells, how it tastes, how it looks on the inside. So with the house, once you get the perspective on the video, then you're going to want to fly in. And some people, bigger homes, they actually fly in through the front door and then fly around in the home. Or you can just fly up toward the front door, and then you can walk around and do the video from there. And I think in a second they're going to fly in. He's going to fly in through the door.
Wow.
And then you want to show off the features in the house. And these are just standing shots. He's not using the drone in the inside there. You don't have to use the drone on the inside. It's just for the outside. But you want to put that together.
Of a pilot do you have to be to fly a drone inside a house without destroying it and everything?
If you get something like a Phantom 4 or a Typhoon H, they have avoidance, and they will avoid crashing into anything. So if there's a wall or branches or anything like that, they have cameras that are 4 or 5 cameras that are looking, and so if it senses that you're coming close to a wall, it's going to stop and it's not going to hit, so you're not going to crash it. So it's worth spending money to get something like a Phantom 4 that has that sense and avoidance, so it won't, it's going to be hard to actually crash it. You can actually press a button, it'll take off for you. You can press a button, it'll land for you, and so it's pretty. The better drone you have, it's going to be a little bit easier to operate as
So
well. And
you
so
don't have
once you,
to be
yeah,
a
go
pilot.
ahead. Go ahead. You have a question?
You don't have to be an FAA pilot, right, to operate these things anymore, right?
No, but you do need to be FAA approved, and we're going to talk about that, and get a certificate. You take a 2-hour written test. And so once you are approved, you want to post it on your Facebook, Twitter, that you're doing that. So if you're thinking of using a drone, one of the frustrating things is that if you don't really know what it takes to legally use a drone for your business, it can be very frustrating because the FAA is out, and they have people that are fining people that are not using it properly. So if you do use it, you need to hire someone to take the photos and videos of your real estate properties. They need to have what's called a 333 exemption or a Part 107 certificate. Or you may get a $20,000 and plus a fine from the FAA. So be sure that either you hire someone with the FAA certification, and so ask to see that paperwork and check out that FAA certificate number and check it online on the FAA website that they do indeed have that certification. Or you can get your own Part 107 certificate to avoid having your pictures and videos removed from the websites or getting any fines, because the person taking the video and the person using it on the website can get fined. And so this is one of the reasons why my brother-in-law, Steve Gowdy, started Gowdy Brothers. When he went and filled out the form for the 333, he couldn't believe how hard and difficult it was and how hard the FAA was making it for people to use the drones legally. So he started this a couple years ago, and as a consultant to help people to fly legally. And so that's what we can do for you guys. Now, what we want to talk about is commercial use versus hobby use. Now, with a hobbyist, you don't need to be FAA approved. You don't need to take any tests. But for hobby, it means that you're not sharing that information. Okay, it's only for your own private use, your own family use. So you're not posting it on websites, companies or nonprofits or churches or realtors or people aren't using the photos for commercial use. So it's not necessarily a monetary exchange. Some people think they can shoot the video and they say they just charge for the editing. Well, those people get fined by the FAA. Okay, it's not necessarily that they're paying you for the video footage, but if there's any kind of economic benefit, say if you're the realtor and you're just shooting using your own drone, you're not charging yourself for it, but you're going to benefit by using those videos. So it's defined by intent, what you're using what you're using the video footage from the drone for, if you're using it for just to show your own family or friends, or if you're using it for commercial purposes. So that's the difference between the two. So
How
with the hobbyist,
strict
yep, go ahead.
Dwight, how strict are they on that intent? Like, how do they know? Like, say you posted it on Facebook, would they say, oh, this person is not, FAA, registered, they can't do that? I mean, is there a governing body that, monitors all of this?
Well, it's the FAA and then the police. They've sent out all the police are aware of all the regulations and what the people need to do, to be legal. So, and to be honest, there's not enough police and people out there that are patrolling to catch everybody. Usually, someone reports you. It could be your competition. They find out that you're shooting video and you're not legal. They'll probably make a phone call or two to the FAA or whatever. Or maybe you cause an accident, or you've done something wrong, or you've flown over private property and some lady you're in her backyard and she's freaking out and she's going to call the police on you. So whatever it is, you want to make sure that you're doing it correctly, or you could get in trouble and get some huge fines. The hobbyists, if you're flying indoors, there's no requirement. So if you're inside of a gym or inside of a building, if you're outside, you need to register your drone, and it's $5. You go to the FAA website, you register the drone, they give you a number, and then you label your drone with that number. If you don't, there's something like a $20,000 fine if you don't register the drone. So for that, I think it's because if you say you fly into a power line, they want to know who flew that drone into the power line or did something, just like a car, you register your car when you're driving a car on the road. So for hobbyists, that's the only thing that's required. You don't need any other FAA certification. Now you asked, how do they know? Well, like if you post it on Facebook, if you're just posting it for fun, that's obvious. But if it's a home that's for sale, or if it's a picture of a business, you know, if there's any kind of a commercial intent in the posting, then that's, you know, that's how they would define that. You know, does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. So for the commercial requirements, you've got two things. Number one, you can have the Section 333 exemption, which was the old system that started about 2 years ago. Under that system, whoever does operate the drone needed to have a minimum of a sport pilot certificate, which usually would cost you like $5,000 or $6,000 to get that pilot license. And so it was pretty ridiculous. So just in August now, they have a new Part 107 remote pilot certificate where all you need to do is study for a 2-hour written exam. There's 60 questions, and once you pass that written exam, then you can fly the drone commercially. Now, if you do fly a drone over 55 pounds, you can still apply for a Section 333 exemption, but then you still need to have that sport pilot certificate. So you want to make sure the drone that you buy is under 55 pounds. And most all of the ones are like a DJI Phantom 4 like I was talking about, or a Phantom 3, or any of the more popular ones. They're going to be under 55 pounds. And so that's what you need to do, and I'm going to talk about more about how to get that certificate as we go. The second thing is you need to do a drone registration online, and this way you're registering it not for hobby use but for commercial use. And if you need help with that, I can email you the step-by-steps how to register it for commercial use, and then how to label your drone. So those are the two things that you need to be able to use your drone for real estate. Now I know this chart is probably not going to be really tiny. On our website we have GowdyBrothers.com. If you click frequently asked questions, this chart is on there about how you get your remote pilot certificate. You can click the link. There's 660 different testing stations across America. You call and you make an appointment to take that written test. Once you pass that written test, they're going to give you a test exam ID number, and you go to the website and log that in, and then you can print your temporary airman certificate, and later you're going to get that in the mail. Now, if you already have a pilot license, you're a Part 61 pilot, you might be have a sport pilot certificate, you too need to get certified to fly a drone, but you don't have to take a test. It's an online training course. And there's a link here to the website, and I did send out this PowerPoint as a PDF, which I'm probably going to post with the replay. So I think all the links will work on the PowerPoint as well, or you can email me for that information. So if you're already a pilot and you want to fly a drone, you can take the online course, and it's kind of like a motorcycle endorsement on a car driver's license. You get an endorsement on your airplane pilot license that you can fly a drone commercially. So I talked about the Part 107 exam. If you're not a pilot, you need to take a written test, and we have a training for that. We have two training options. The first is a self-study online course where we have training videos. There's a practice exam with actual tests from the course and all the study materials that you need to prepare and pass the Part 107 exam. So the cost for our training course, online course, it's $150. And then when you schedule the test at your nearby testing station, they charge you probably about $150 to take the FAA Airman Certificate course. Now, if you're not good at studying by yourself and you need help, an interactive learner, we have an interactive online workshop. It's 2 3-hour sessions over 2 evenings, and we actually guarantee that you will pass your exam on your first test. And that also includes that self-study login, so you'll have all the training videos, the practice tests, and all of that. For that, we charge $350, and for that online training workshop where it's interactive, and we have a 100% success rate. Everybody who's taken that course has passed the exam. We've had over 1,800 people take our practice exam. 500 people have enrolled in our courses. The workshop, that live interactive workshop format, we're going to go over the terms and the concepts. We're going to give you all the materials and examples. We're going to give you practical real-life scenario training so you can actually use this beyond the test when you're actually going out and doing this. And then we're going to ask if everybody has any questions on what each thing that we cover of each of the sections. And then we have a little quiz. And so you're involved in this. And we cover all the regulations, airspace requirements, the weather, because you have to be able to read weather charts and VFR charts, small and unmanned aircraft loading and performance, and then operations. For example, you have to know the difference between Class A, B, C, D, E airspace, and G airspace, all of that. And how to read the charts, these VFR charts. They look complicated, but we're going to make it simple. You're going to be able to understand those charts and see what is Class B, because they might ask you on the test, would you be able to fly your drone in this area? And they'll give you a map of the area, and you have to know if you're going to be able to fly your drone in that area. And like I said, we do guarantee once you take that course, the interactive course, if you do fail and don't pass your first time, we will refund up to $165 for taking that test, and then we're going to provide additional training and teaching to ensure that you eventually will pass that test. And the instructors of that interactive course is my brother-in-law, Steve Gowdy, who's the founder of Gowdy Brothers, and also Will Evans, who's a veteran from Iraq and Afghanistan, and he flew drones overseas, and he's a commercial pilot, and he is amazing. He knows a lot about drones, and he'll be able to answer any questions also that you have. Now, some additional Part 107 options, depending on what commercial activities you are going to be doing. The FAA has waivers available, and you can get these in the name of your company, so anyone you hire who has passed the Part 107 exam can fly using your waivers. Now, here's a couple examples of the waivers that you can get. You can actually operate your drone from a moving vehicle or an aircraft if you get waiver 107.25. You can operate nighttime with 107.29, and now I've seen some realtors are taking pictures of homes and properties at nighttime, some really cool nighttime shots from the drone. There's a 107.31, which is beyond line of sight. So if you have a huge property, you can fly that baby, all the way out of sight legally using that waiver. There's daisy chain visual observers. There's multiple unmanned aircraft systems. You can fly more than one at a time. There's a yielding the right-of-way. There's operating over people. So if you're actually going to be doing some documentaries or film or events or weddings and things like that, we're going to fly over people, you're going to need a 107.39 waiver. There's one in particular airspace, so if you want to fly near an airport or Class C, D, or E airspace, you can do that with a waiver. And also if you need to go, say, 1,000 feet up to check an antenna tower, you can get a waiver to do that. And we do each waiver, which are good for 4 years. We'll apply for that and get that for $750. Now, some of the benefits of using the Gowdy Brothers is we have experience with over 875 companies worldwide. We're the largest UAS consulting company. It's focused from the pilot's perspective. My brother-in-law is a pilot. When you join the network, we're going to help pass business referrals onto you. If you have your 107 and you want to do real estate videos, if we know people in the area that need that, we're going to pass that business onto you. We have a 100% success rate. We had the most Section 323 submissions of any country in the nation, and now we're doing these waivers. And with each waiver, we include an 80-page UAS flight operations manual. And we also can offer PayPal credit, 6 months interest-free, 6 months no payment option if you need that. So I've got two specials for this webinar as we close this out. If you want to purchase the Fast Start package, it's $1,500, and with that you would get 2 Part 107 waivers of your choice from those 9 different waivers that I mentioned. You're going to get 3 Part 107 study logins. So maybe you have 3 guys in your real estate office that want to take the test and can do the study course on their own. And then I'm also going to throw in as a bonus, which normally this isn't part of our Fast Start package, is 1 seat at the interactive Part 107 training. That's a $350 value. So altogether you're saving over $800 with that webinar package. The second one special is you can purchase 1 seat of our interactive Part 107 training workshop for $350 by December 27th, and you'll get 1 seat for free. So you save $350 for that. So the only way to get that deal is to contact me directly and mention the Agent Mastermind webinar And those specials are running, I'll run those till the end of December 27th. So just to review, for commercial use, to use a drone, you need the FAA certification. So if you already have your Section 333 and you already have a sport pilot certificate, you're good to go as long as you have your drone registered. But if you don't have that, you want to do the Part 107 test, which is a 2-hour exam, 60 questions, multiple choice. And I do highly recommend that you study for that. We've had people that go and take that test. Actually, one guy's failed it twice. He took our webinar on, it was a Tuesday and Thursday night. He took the test on Friday and he passed the test the first time. So people think they can do it. It's pretty difficult. You got to be able to read those VFR charts, weather charts, and things like that. So we can help you with that. Pass that exam. And then the second thing is make sure your drone is registered for commercial use. And then the third thing that is required, there may be certain activities you want to do, flying at night, flying over people, flying beyond line of sight. Then you get those Part 107 waivers for your company, and we can help you with those waivers. So just to review and recap, we also have the self-study course just for $150 that will give you the training videos, the practice test, or that live interactive workshop. Now how to get started, you can either email me, Dwight@GowdyBrothers.com. Tell me what you want. If you want the Fast Start package, you want to get the one workshop, get one workshop free, or if you just want to get the self-study course for $150, we can get you going and up and running with your Part 107. You can use the drone for commercial purposes with your real estate business. Or if you want to give me a call, my cell phone number is 612-423-3457, and you can talk to me and just mention Agent Mastermind specials, and I can let you know. And if you have any questions of what what you might want to do, or I can help you answer any questions you've got as far as that. So if you do have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer those now. I'm sorry I kind of went through pretty fast, but I guess I'm just a fast talker.
Thank you so much.
Any questions?
There are a lot of information that you provided us was awesome, and I really appreciate this. I know you know it all like the back of your hand, but to a lot of us, all of those waivers and the different regulations, it's kind of confusing. So
Okay.
Can I ask you this? Possibly some of our participants might not want to do it themselves. Could they reach out to you and have you help them find somebody that would do it for them?
Yes, definitely, definitely. Yeah, we can go through our database and look for people that we have or that we know that have that FAA approval. Yes.
Do you know about what the cost would be? Or because you guys don't do it, you just teach everybody basically how to get their license and how to get their drone registered. You don't actually
right.
do the drone stuff yourselves. Okay.
We don't personally. I don't do that, but it depends on the markets. Some places, like if you're in California, it could be $400, $500, $600. If you're in a little town in North Carolina, there's not much going on there. You may be able to get it for a couple $100. You know what I mean? So it just depends on the markets, where you are, and what the situation is, what the competition is doing, if there's nobody there or if there's a lot of people doing it. So the pricing does vary, like I'm saying, in the market, but there are definitely people out there. And actually there's about 4 or 5 websites that I could send you that you can click on, people that are offering their services. It's kind of like a Craigslist, of drone operators. So if you want to do real estate, they'll give you a quote and things like that.
I know, personally, I probably would like somebody else to do it for me because it just looks complicated, and I don't know if I want to take the.
Okay.
But I'm sure we have a lot of really savvy realtors on board with us that would want to do it themselves. That this would be a great side project and a great way to market themselves. So this is really kind of cool information. Now, to all of our audience, do you guys have any questions? I don't see. If you have any questions, just post it in the chat on the right-hand side in your panel. You can ask any questions of Dwight right now. He's got another 20 minutes if you want to stay on here and answer you. Is anybody here today? We have 82 attendants. I don't see anybody asking any questions.
Yeah, I see 82.
Yep.
If there's no questions, I have some.
Okay.
Is that someone? Question?
I don't see anything. Nope, I don't.
I made a couple of slides. Okay, I made a couple slides with some of the most common questions. I could just run those through those real quick.
Great, thank
Real
you.
common questions is some people,
Hey
they've
guys,
never flown a drone before.
sorry to interrupt, but
Hello?
there are some questions coming through. I'm not sure
I'm not,
why you can't see them, but I can go ahead and ask them for you. Let's see here. So, do we need any kind of insurance once we have the license, or how do we go about that?
Okay, that was the third one that I had here, a question. With drone insurance, we do highly recommend that you get drone insurance of a $1 million liability. And we do have a friend who can give you a free quote for that. His name is Pat Costello. His cell phone number there is 480-968-7746, or you can go to his website and get an online quote. It could be $1 million. Depends on your area, and everything, the situation, but you could be looking at maybe about $600 a year for liability insurance. There is some new drone insurance out there that there's a drone app that you can download, and you can pay, like if you just want to get drone insurance for one day, you pay a day rate, and which is a pretty new thing out there. But I would highly recommend getting drone insurance, because you never know what might happen. If you fly your drone into the side of a, I don't know, Rolls Royce or something like that, you don't want to have to pay for a new for repairs and things like that.
there's another question. Yeah, I found, Rachel, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks. Well, I couldn't see them. They weren't coming up in the chat. Will the drone rules be specific to the United States only, or what about Canada?
Okay, I've got a friend, Alan Perlman. He's called the Drone UAV Coach. He has a website, which if you do inquire on that, he lists all the different countries and the different regulations. So each country has their own different regulations for that. Canada, Australia, Europe, South America, all of the countries have different rules. So what I told you about was just the U.S., which is the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. So if you do need information on those other countries, you can email me, Dwight@GaudyBrothers.com, and I'll send you the link to my friend's website that lists all the different countries and all the different regulations.
Awesome. Awesome. And are there any communities that are banning drones for real estate purposes that you know of?
No, but I've heard of some places that, they set up no-fly zones, or some cities where they just have certain parks where you're allowed to fly, and that's kind of it. That's where you get that waiver. If we get you the Part 107.41 waiver to fly in certain airspace, you can get permission to fly. If you needed to fly in a certain space, we can get that. All those waivers, there's 9 of them. They all are good everywhere except for that one, the .401, that's in a certain airspace. So you can get permission to fly in a certain area. You can even fly at an airport, if you need to fly. We can get you permission for that through that 107 waiver.
Larry Bass had a question. What drone would you recommend for a first-time user who wants to keep the costs low? So we didn't really talk about the types of drones that you can get or where you can get them. Would you cover that a little bit for us?
Yeah. Yes. And, well, if you've never flown a drone before, I would recommend just getting a simple, easy one to learn on, because the concepts and the controls are the same. So if you spend maybe $80 or $100, crash that sucker for 100 times, and then you'll be ready to spend $500 or $1,000. One that my brother-in-law has and it really recommends is the Nano QX RTF, but there's a lot of little ones for maybe $80 or $100 that you can get. Now, if you want the best deal on drones, I would refer you to Stan Markowitz. He's in Chicago. I've got his cell phone number there, 773-791-2377, and just mention me to get the best deal. And there's his website is 312uav.com. There was a lot of deals. On Black Friday, you could get a DJI Phantom 3 for like $369. I think it's now around $499. So for about $500, you can get a Phantom 3, which is a really good drone. But I would probably recommend a Phantom 4. You can get that for like $999, and that has that sense and avoidance thing, so you're not going to crash it. And it's got a longer battery life and things like that. So a Phantom 4 or a Typhoon H also has that avoidance thing. So there's a couple different drones, but it's best to talk to Stan. He sells drones every day. he knows all the different software, the hardware, all the different things where I'm not in that realm. But I would definitely recommend Stan to finding out the best drone for your particular application.
Okay, awesome. And we'll have that information for you guys as well. So we'll put it in the slides. You can get them from your loan partner. Also,
Right.
another question came in. Are you required to have any particular insurance? Oh, we already covered the insurance one. So
Not by law. I mean, it's not like car insurance where, like in Minnesota here, you have to have it or you're in trouble. You don't have to have it, but we do highly recommend getting drone insurance, and it is different than your regular liability insurance. You do need to have a rider on there or specify that you're using the drone and make sure that that's covered.
okay, great. And do you know, could you answer this, Dwight, for us? How do you edit the video? Like, is that something that you need to hire someone to do, or does it come with the drone? Is there like a software package that comes with the drone? How does that work?
There's a lot of different software packages that you can use for that. Depending on if you, like, that's where if you are hiring someone, they could edit that down and make it for you. Some people will just, or you could maybe pay less and then just get the raw footage and then edit your own video. I mean, when you get Windows, there's a movie editor in that. If you have a Mac, there's iMovie. There's different, there's free editing software, or you can get, like I use Pinnacle 19. I mean, there's really a much better software out there. A lot of money, but you can probably get pretty simple freeware software as well to do that video editing.
Okay, great. And do you, is there a penalty for flying without a license? I know you covered that early on, so maybe some people didn't hear what the penalty is.
It's
without your drone.
It's like $20,000. The FAA can penalize you if you have not, like if you're just a hobbyist flying a drone. If it's over, I think it's 6 ounces. If it's over a certain weight, like the real tiny little plastic ones that are toys, that's not a big deal. But if it's over 6 ounces, you have to register the drone as a hobbyist and label it and register the drone. Okay, and so if you don't, there's like $27,000 fine is what they're saying on the website. You could probably talk them down to like $10,000, but who wants to pay $10,000 for something you're not? I don't mind spending 10 grand, but if you're getting nothing for it, that's not a good deal. So you want to register your drone as a hobbyist, but if you're going to do it commercially, you register as a commercial drone. You can use it for hobbyist use if you want. It's that same number, but definitely it's only $5 to register that drone online. But if you do use it for commercial purposes, you need to have the FAA remote pilot certificate, the Part 107 one, or you can get, they can fine you like per incident. So if you made 10 illegal videos that you posted, they might fine you $10,000. There was a guy in Minnesota who got fined $80,000, I think, for 8 videos that he had posted. So they can fine you like $10,000 per illegal video that you've made.
It's not worth it, folks. I mean, just as Dwight said, it gets expensive if you put out video and your competition sees it and you don't have your drone registered. You might even have it registered and they still might inquire about it. So just don't take the chance. Get your drone registered, for both commercial and for hobby.
Yep. For $5, you register the drone. For $150, you can take our course to learn how to take the test, and then for $150, you take the test. So for $300, you're legal. I'd rather invest $300 than paying a $20,000 fine. That's for sure.
Completely agree. Well, here's a question. Many military pilots live out by where Travis Parker lives. Do they still need FAA license and permits? Would you know that?
Are they in the U.S.?
Well, I'm not sure where Travis lives,
US
but
property?
I have no idea where Travis lives.
If they're in U.S. airspace, okay, because like I said, that's FAA. That's their area. If they're in the U.S. airspace, they have to either have a Part 107 remote pilot certificate, it's called, or they have to have a sport pilot certificate and a 333 exemption. to fly the drone commercially. So that doesn't matter if they're military. They need a 333 exemption. So they need to get approved for flying a drone. It's kind of like a motorcycle. You might have a car license, but it doesn't mean you can just drive a motorcycle legally. You have to get a motorcycle endorsement in order to fly or to drive a motorcycle. So even though maybe you're a pilot, you have to get an endorsement to fly the drone commercially. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so like in the same realm of questions, Doug asked, he has a private pilot's license, so is that classified like as a sport pilot certification?
Yeah, it could be any pilot, whether so what he needs to do, if he goes to our website or it's in this thing, I've got that chart. If you are a Part 61 pilot, you've got a pilot certificate. All you got to do is, it's like a little refresher course. It teaches you all the rules on the drone, and then you get that endorsement on your pilot certificate. So it won't cost him anything. He just goes to that link and takes the course, completes the course, and then registers all of that information with the FAA.
Great.
So he won't be out of pocket any money. You can do this all for free.
Awesome.
Except for pay the $5 for drone registration. Yep.
So here's a question. This is from Roger. He asks, is there a penalty for a homeowner who is concerned about a drone flying over and shoots down the drone with a shotgun? So can a homeowner whose drone, who's being blown over by a drone, shoot down the drone? Have there been any incidents like
Yes.
that? Okay.
Yes, there has. There was a guy flying over looking at some girl in a pool or something, and then I think the husband shot the drone down. But if you don't have permission, you can't just fly in people's backyards. Okay, that's their airspace. So they could shoot your drone down. You're what do you call it when you're trespassing on their property with it's just like flying a vehicle. I mean, flying that over there. So I would not fly over anybody's property like that if they're going to freak out. And definitely just, if you are shooting a video of a home, I would definitely knock on the neighbors and just say, hey, don't freak out. I'm just going to do a quick video of this home. I'm going to try not to fly in your airspace. But if I do fly over, I'm not taking any pictures of your house. I'm doing it of this house that I'm selling. So, and if they're all, just ask them, are you okay with that? And if they say, yeah, they're okay, then that's cool. But if they're not okay, then I would definitely be careful not to fly into their airspace.
That's great advice, you guys.
You don't want,
yeah, I know that.
You don't want them to call, you don't want them calling the cops on you or freaking out or something like that on you. So it only take you 5 minutes to just knock on the door of the neighbor.
So yeah, go out there and ask the neighbors if you're going to be in the neighborhood and shooting the neighborhood aerial photos. Ask the neighbors if they're okay with it. Even if you have a license to do so, it's not necessarily a license that they're going to think is okay for flying in their private airspace, even though it's
right.
the neighborhood. So here's another question. Do you like the Mavic Pro?
Yeah, that's the new one out by DJI. It's definitely very cool. It's got a lot of features and things, so it's probably one of the most advanced ones that DJI put out, so definitely a good deal.
Awesome. And Oliver asked, I used an app named Before You Fly, and it would appear that I'm always within 5 miles. Which exemption is best? I'm not quite sure what the question is referring to, but...
Okay, he must be close to, if you're like within 5 miles to an airport, it won't let you take off. There is a way to override that software, but you do need to have permission to fly in that airspace. And that's the 107.41 waiver that we can get you to fly in certain airspace. And so you can either call me or email me and I can work on that for him.
What type of video capabilities will be best for real estate video purposes? HD, I mean, is there the new 4K? What's the best video capability?
Well, to be honest, I don't think you need 4K. Most people, I mean, I personally don't. My son, I think, has in his room, he has a 4K TV, but I don't have a 4K TV. So, I mean, only certain people are going to be able to get advantage of a 4K video. So, I mean, it's better. I've had one guy who wanted to do weddings, and I called Stan because he didn't want to fly so close because of the noise of the drone at the wedding. And he said, well, use a 4K camera, and then you can crop it down to the 2K. You know, you can do a digital zoom, so you can fly higher with the higher resolution camera, and then take the pictures of the wedding. So in certain cases, you might want a 4K camera, but you probably you're not gonna have it to do some. You know, I think HD is totally fine for now, because like I said, most people don't have 4K TVs yet.
Oh, right, right. Well, a lot of them went on sale during Black Friday. That's the first time I've ever seen them. So that's a good point. Is there any other questions, you guys? We have about 15 more minutes, and I'd love to get Dwight to basically give you all the information that you need. We're going to give you access to all these slides after the Agent Mastermind event. Just your loan partner will be able to send you a replay of this PowerPoint, so you'll have all of this information. But just want to make sure that you know everything that Dwight covered here. I know there's a lot of waivers to talk about. There's lots of different classes that you can take. You want to just quickly cover again exactly if you're a newbie who wants to go learn to fly a drone today, what should they do?
Okay. Well, they need to get the FAA certification to use the drone for commercial purposes. So you need to pass the Part 107 exam. It's a 2-hour written exam. You call and you schedule that appointment. There's over 660 testing stations in the U.S. So you need to be prepared to pass that test. And then secondly, you need to register your drone, and then you need the Part 107 waivers if you want to fly at night, fly over people, or fly beyond line of sight, the different things there on the slide. We do offer the 2 options. If you want to do the self-study course, we have online training videos, practice tests, everything you need to prepare yourself on the 8 different areas of how to read those VFR maps, how to read the weather charts, do all of that. It's $150 per login, or there's an interactive workshop that we have. It's 2 evenings, 3 hours each, and we guarantee that you'll pass the test once you do that 6 hours of study with us. And so it's easy to get started. You just email me, let me know which package you want. If you want the Fast Start package, which includes 2 waivers, 3 study logins, and a free interactive workshop as the bonus. Or if you want to buy one, get one free, interactive workshop for $350, that's a $700 value. Or if you just want to get the Part 107 online study login, that's $150. So you can either email me or call me. We can get you started. I can answer any of the rest of your questions.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Dwight. And one last question. Are the waivers for one-time use, like you said, or they're good for 4 years, right? So once you get
They're good for 4 years. You can fly at night then, you know, for 4 years. And they're good in all across America, except for that 107.41, which is in certain airspace. So you would pick a certain area that you need to fly. Maybe it's a restricted airspace, and so you would get that, and it would be good for 4 years, but it would be good in that particular area. So, but you can then file for several, because I had one guy in New York, he's doing news shots in all the major cities in New York, so he's getting one in it for each city in the state of New York.
How far do the drones fly? What's the range?
Well, it just depends. Usually the battery lasts about 20 minutes, so that's going to limit you. So you only want to fly about 10 minutes away. So you could fly 4, 5, 6 miles, you know, but you want to make sure. And then the higher end ones do, when they sense when the battery's low enough that they've got to start coming back, they'll actually return back, and they will land back where you took off from, return to home. So okay. It's worth investing in the higher end machines that do that if you think you're going to have a problem. Because I did have my first drone. That's what happened. I launched that baby, and that baby took off, and it went out of range. My range of my controller was maybe, I don't know, maybe a half a mile, but my drone, I kept going, and I couldn't control it anymore. But luckily, I found my drone. It landed safely. It didn't get damaged, and no car drove over or anything. But it was on the side of a road, and I found my.
Oh wow! I'm sure you have some pretty good stories, right?
That was yeah. But that was like $100 one. That's the cheaper one that I was learning to fly on. So it didn't have the return to home feature. I'm just saying with the higher end ones, if you do have trouble like that and it gets out of range, it'll automatically come back and land where you took off.
What happens if it runs out of battery? Will it just fall out of the sky?
Again, with the higher end ones, yeah, with the cheaper one, like $100 one, it'll just drop down. That's what happened to mine. It just drops down. And usually they're so light, you know, that I did no damage on mine. And then with the higher end ones, like I said, they will sense the battery getting low, and so it'll start and it'll take it back home before that, you know, it's completely dead.
So get the higher end one, is it what he's trying to say? Practice on the less expensive one until you get it, and then get the higher end.
Yeah, so spend about $100 on one. You can learn how to fly it good, and then you can spend $500 or $1,000 on a really good one.
Yeah, borrow your kids the one that you got them for Christmas. Let them be the guinea, and then you guys can learn. Another question just came in. I work for Digi, and they let us borrow drones. Can I use them, or would I have to buy my own? So if you work for a company and they have drones, this is a good question. Do you have to be, and they're registered, do you have to be registered separately?
If you're going to use it for commercial purpose, the drone itself needs to be registered for commercial purpose. So you find out, right. Well, if the company has registered as for commercial use, then you could use that drone. If they've only registered it for hobby use, you need to ask them if you can re-register it for $5 and register it for commercial use. If you have a commercial ID number on that, then you'll be able to use that drone. And some people, there's companies out there that are doing that. They're renting drones to people, and then you can go and use it for commercial use because maybe you don't have a drone, or you come to a town, you didn't want to bring your drone on the airplane. You just want to rent the drone and then just go out and do the video shoot that you're going to need to do. So you can use anybody's drone as long as it's got the commercial registration number on it.
Well, like say I wanted to go out borrow my company's, I want to borrow Scott's drone for commercial use. He's registered it for commercial use. Do I need to have any kind of certification, any waiver myself, or if Scott did all that for the drone, then there's nothing additional that I would need to do?
Well, it's just like a car. Your car is registered in your name. You could borrow your car to me, but if I don't have a driver's license, I can get in trouble for driving your car. It's the same with the drone. The drone's registered, so it's legal for commercial use, but whoever's operating that drone needs FAA pilot certificate, that remote pilot in command, which is that, like I said, it's about $150. You take it at an FAA certified place, and so you get it's like a driver's license for the drone to use it for commercial purposes. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. Alan, so hopefully that answered your question. And then if there's anything else you want to cover, we have about 8 more minutes. Go right ahead. Dwight, if I don't have any more questions coming in.
Okay, we can kind of wrap it up. I've actually got an appointment at 12. I mean at 1 your time, but it's 12 my time. So unless there's other questions, I'd be happy to.
Anybody? Any more questions? Thank you so much. Can you just leave this on for a few minutes? Just I want to make sure everyone writes it down. Dwight's cell phone number is 612-423-3457, and you can reach him by email also at dwight@goudybrothers.com, and the website is www.goudybrothers.com, and it's Gowdy Brothers Aerospace. We really appreciate having you on today. This has been very resourceful, lots of information, great information. And we're excited that you could come on again and talk to us about the new FAA regulations and changes and all the different things that you would need to use a drone in your real estate business. Super important. You see it, helping lots of realtors really kind of stay ahead of their marketing curve. Like you said, that 3% are the ones that are really kind of taking advantage of this.
Yes, awesome. Yeah, so I'm going to be in a meeting for another hour, so if you want to call, leave a message on my cell phone. I won't be able to answer the phone for like the next hour, but I can definitely talk to you in about an hour and a half from now. I'd be able to definitely talk to anybody and help out. And you can go to our website, GowdyBrothers.com. If you click FAQ, frequently asked questions, there's a lot of information in there and all the different testing sites where you can get your your 107 exam testing, and all that stuff is in that FAQ section. That'll answer a lot of your questions as well.
And don't forget to mention Agent Mastermind. They have specific packages for our Agent Mastermind viewers, so make sure that you mention that so you don't forget. All right, thank you so much, Dwight.
Okay.
I appreciate you.
All right.
Great information, and have a great day. Thanks, everyone.
Yep. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care.